Hey guys, Mr. Antoon here. We're covering Unit 7, Political Participation today, and we're focusing on Chapter 8. Remember, this is AP College Board Unit 4 out of 5. So I just split them up just to give you the heads up if you don't remember. All right, political parties. The meaning of party, 8.1. So let's go back to Chapter 6. And the idea of ideology is a system of ideas or ideals that especially forms your political, social, or even economic theory. Could be religious theory as well. But we have liberals, moderates, and conservatives. So what's Chapter 8 defined as? Well, political parties are teams of people who seek to control the governing apparatus by gaining office in a duly constituted election. Those would be Democrats, Independents, and Republicans. You can also throw in third parties here because we're going to talk about them soon. And then in ideology side, we are as a country conservatives, but that doesn't translate to political party. We are independents overall. And you can see here with this Gallup poll back in 2018 showing that independents are at 42%, Democrats are at 30, Republicans are at 26. Obviously a poll, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Okay? So political parties, we've already defined them. Those people seek office for an election. And again, that's a key, and you can see all the different logos for all the different third parties. But it's dominated by these two parties, Democrats and Republicans. GOP stands for Grand Old Party, and then the interest groups. You could see a bunch of them on the right. Again, they they are more involved with specifics than they are with general stuff. So when I compare them, again, you can see the interest group doesn't nominate candidates. The political party nominates candidates. The interest groups are concerned with influencing the policy as well as political parties, but they're concerned with more winning the elections to influence the policy. So they attempt to influence only policy affecting their members. If I'm in the NRA, if I'm the NRA, I want to influence my members who want gun rights. So therefore, I'm going to influence the political party, and the political party is going to pass legislation or protect my gun rights. Interest groups are policy specialists. Political parties and politicians are policy generalists. And hopefully that makes sense there. Remember our policymaking system. It all starts and ends with the people. But you could see parties and interest groups are right here now. They're part of the linkage institution. They want to influence policymaking institutions to influence policy that impacts us. And you could see here the most important position is president. And you could see how from 1901 to Obama's time, you could see how it's kind of flipped, especially in modern times. You have Clinton, Bush, Obama, and then Trump. And I had predicted for about 4 years, actually before Trump won, that we were going to elect a Republican here. I said here we flip, and we did. Okay, shocking. Oh, he upset Hillary because Hillary was predicted to win. But now I had predicted that Trump would win again because that's what we do. But Trump is Trump, and boom, now we have Biden in office until 2025. Obviously, we know the elections are in the even years, they start serving in the odd years. So the 2024 election, Trump will probably be back in trying to influence that one. But again, one of my favorite graphics here is showing you the influence of these elections going back to the beginning of our country in 1790s. You can see here how much electoral vote they won. So it's really been really close here. LBJ was the last huge winner, over 60% of the electoral vote. But you could see how this is done. This orange is third party. So I want you to think about third party. And they don't really win the election, they can influence it. And we'll talk about that later when we get to them. Here are the different party for each state. Each state has 50 Democrat state parties and so on. And when they were founded, so the Democratic Party was founded in 1828 by Andrew Jackson, his team, and he became the first president. And then the Republican Party was founded by Abraham Lincoln in 1854, became famous. But these parties are different today. They've realigned. So the Republicans today are more like the Democratic Party founded Andrew Jackson, and the Democrats are more like the Republican Party of Lincoln. And then you can see the other parties as well founded in modern times. So the 5 tasks of parties to influence public opinion to public policy is to pick candidates, run their campaigns, give cues to the voters. So I'm going to give you cues if I'm the Republican Party. I'm going to tell you how, in a sense, you should think. Liberal versus conservative, obviously, articulate my policies of the party. Now, this is interesting because our Republican Party didn't write in every 4 years, supposed to write a new party platform. And for the first time in a long time, the Republican Party said, no, we don't need a new party. Whatever Trump wants to do, we're going to do. So they're changing the norms of what you used to. So that's four, and then five, coordinate policy making. So Mitch McConnell is very famous for the power he has in the Senate as a Republican leader. He meets together with House Republicans and the President Trump, and they coordinate policy together. And then that comes down to you if you're a member of the Republican Party. So we've gone over Downs' model before, but you could see on the political spectrum, it's called rational choice theory. And this political scientist, Anthony Downs, states he explains the actions of voters and weighs the costs and benefits of alternatives. So he said, and what I want you to know from the rational choice theory or Downs model is that most people sit in the center of the spectrum. So we're independents. We are, even though we're a conservative country, this is where we choose. Now, it's not like this anymore. It's actually been pancaked more because we're starting to be more divided, and therefore it's starting to bulge at the outside more often. So you look for one party to give more policy benefits than the other. So what do Democrats do? Here's free things. We're going to raise taxes and we're going to give out free things. So people should come over there if they want free things. Whereas the Republicans focus on the values of hard work based on your effort. It's a reward in a sense. This is what you get because you've worked hard for it. So you can see just two contrasting ideas there. And parties seek voter loyalty because it's called straight ticket voting. If you're a lifelong Republican, you would vote for Republicans for every office, and that's what they're looking for to influence you guys from that. And again, if we look at this, I don't even know where I put Trump on the spectrum. I mean, I could say that he's on the far right over here, but I'm not saying he's radical right, but I don't think he's a conservative, so it's hard to put him here. Whereas Joe Biden is a moderate Democrat. He is not a radical left, as what Republicans would say. But here's the interesting part. The 4 or 5 socialist Democrats, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Ilhan Omar, they have a huge voice. And that's what the conservatives are really scared of. So I don't know where you would want to put everybody on here, but Biden is moderate and Trump is Trump. Okay. And again, you could see again, this was, this is like 2010. So you're seeing here the majority of Americans place themselves close to the middle as shown below. And then you can see independents on the bottom one. And then you can see the Democratic Party and then the Republican Party. And they're starting to move left and right, guys. All right, so we're going to talk about this thing called the pig pie po. This is how you will remember what parties do. Pie is the party and the electorate. You could see here the pig, the pie, and the po. This is how you will remember what the political parties will do. So let's start with the pie. You don't have to be in a political party to be part of it. So let's say I'm a Democrat. I don't have to join. There's no dues anyways, really. You could donate money. But it's mainly psychological, meaning I believe I'm a Democrat. So therefore, I'm going to be part of Democrat. And I'm only going to vote for Democrats. So we use symbolic images like the donkey, represent that. The color coding, it's blue mainly for Democrats and red for Republicans. Citizens think they know what the party stands for, but it's very broad. Look, it includes social Democrats like AOC and Bernie Sanders. And it has a moderate president like Joe Biden, who really is trying to unify the country after so much division for the past 4 years. You choose parties based on the affinity with personal preferences. So if I believe in pro-choice, I'm going to join the Democrat Party. If I believe if I'm against that, I'm pro-life, I'm going to be with the Republicans. So you could see how different topics will have us influenced more. But again, we identify as independents and we choose left or right. Again, party identification up to 2012. It's just a similar one, but you could see here, independents were on the rise right around the mid-90s. Okay. There's a thing called ticket splitting, and you could see here Democrats, Republicans, straight Dem ticket splitter would be this here. So 8, 12, and 16% for independents. Independents are the ones that really split their tickets. So I vote for Donald Trump as president, and then I vote for Democrat senators, Democrat representatives, Democrat judges, or I split the vote. I don't really vote one party or the other. And this became the norm in 1994 in LA County when 70% of the people were splitting their tickets. That's when Clinton was running in midterm for him as well. So you guys can see how what ticket splitting is. And we used to have this in Texas, but you could see that here in Governor Abbott got rid of the straight ticket. You were able to click Republican and then say down click all, and it would vote for you already for everybody there. And again, it's still common, but it's mainly for the independents or the moderates that will split their ticket. All right, what's the PO? The PO is the party organization. I'm just going to show you a couple things about this. It goes from the national level, the state, and even local, like the city side of it. And these are the party organizations. There's 50 state, and then they have locals as well. Look at all these. You know, these are all, you could see on the left is Democrats, you could see Florida Dems, you could see Maine's GOP. But again, they have different symbols. Obviously, the color coding will help. So you understand what it is. But then again, this is the pyramid. So we have 3 levels of national. We have the national chair, we have the national committee, and then we have the national convention. That's what they deal with. And then we have states. They deal with their own conventions. They have congressional district committees, and then the local city ones have the same thing. So we have, 3 levels of party organization to help support that Democrat or Republican Party, or even Libertarian to some degree, and Green Party, because those have been prominent in the last 2 elections. Those 4 have been the ones that really run for president. And then with party organization, you can see the party machines where then you see some corruption that went on in the late 1800s, early 1900s. They reward voters for what it is. So you'll give it, if you sponsor somebody, they'll give you a job in politics. This happened in New York and Chicago. A lot of it was referred to as patronage, where jobs were given to voters or contributors. This is what Trump did with some people like Betsy DeVos, who gave him $1 million donation. And now Betsy DeVos has been the Secretary of Education for 4 years. And just a reminder, she fought for private schools instead of public schools for these 4 years, and was trying to not help anybody with loans or anything along those lines. So she had no experience in it, but yet it seems like she was hired as patronage as well as opposed to merit. And that's what we would want in our government. So again, we have these reforms to get rid of it. We have different things to make sure the bureaucracy is based on merit as opposed to patronage. And Boss Tweed was the famous one that did a lot of this patronage back then. And no 2 are alike in all the states, guys. Some states have open primaries where anybody can vote for the primaries, meaning the people you're nominating. You're not electing them, you're nominating them. And then there's closed primaries, so you have to be part of the Republican Party to vote in the Republican primary. You have to be a member of it, or you can't vote. And then they have mixed ones, so you can go in and vote Republican even if you're a Democrat, but you can't vote for both. So they have different versions of these in the states, guys. And then we talked about straight ticket. And then it all culminates with the national conventions. And usually they're held in a city, but this year it was a lot different. They meet every 4 years. They were supposed to write the party platform, but the Republicans did not this year. They formally nominate the candidate after they've won all the primary delegates. And the national committee is responsible for that. They operate for the 4 years setting all this up, and it's led by a national chairperson. You don't have to know those. But again, they both have their slogans. Republicans, we believe in America. Democrats, we are and always will be a nation of immigrants. So you could see the differences there. I think those were 2016s anyways. But I wanted to talk, this was more of a virtual one. So the Democrats went virtual. They went all over. It was really cool to see the differences in how they covered it. Trump, for the first time, stayed at the White House, and that he made the White House political. It's supposed to be the house of the people. And he also did that for his election night. He stayed at the White House. You're supposed to go somewhere else. So the pandemic has changed a lot of things. And they actually did it in person at the White House, their convention. I don't know if everyone came. They did probably partially virtual, but it was more of a physical presence there. So when we look at the pig, pie, and the po, we had the party organization, party in the electorate, and the pig. We haven't done the party in the electorate yet, have we? Huh. But anyways, let's go over it now. So the party electorate is us. If we're a Republican, if we're a Democrat, we're in the electorate, meaning we're the ones they're working for. Then you have the party organization, you have the Dems or the Republicans, and then you have the politicians, the pig. Huh, that's kind of funny. So then you have like Obama. Now let's use Obama as an example because I didn't want to put Trump as the king here, but I wanted to make fun of that situation because everyone's calling every president we have a king or a monarch because they feel like they're overpowerful. Always the losing side does that. Same thing for 4 years of Trump. Felt like he was a monarch, a dictator. You hear all these rumors that go around. So with the party and the electorate, they provide workers to the to the party organizations, and in turn, the party organization mobilizes the party in the elections. So they give them cues, they give them symbols, they tell them how to vote. Here's our platform. And then the politicians, the pig, responds to the policy views of the party organization, which helps strengthen the organization. So they repeat what the party is standing for. Okay, this is why Republicans today, even though Trump just lost the election, this is why Republicans, prominent Republicans, aren't speaking out because they know he's going to run again. And they know the people that voted for them were a lot of the Trump supporters. So that is why they're not speaking out. So this is important to understand that. So in turn, the party organization recruits candidates and provides campaign resources to the party in government. Hopefully you see that. Now, lastly, how does the pig and the pie go together? Well, the pig responds to the policy views of the electorate, the people. And in turn, they vote and they elect the party into office. I hope you see the symbiotic nature of these three, the pig, the pie, and the pie. That's a great way to remember it. Okay. All right, guys, let's continue with the pig. I know we covered the little graphic, but let's finish up with the pig right now. And that's the party and government. So this is about the politicians trying to determine the policy and get the policy passed. So it's promises made by the president, promises made by senators, but they're supported by coalitions. And these coalitions are groups of people like African Americans, LGBT plus, Hispanic, workers, labor workers, machine workers, industry, coal workers. Those are coalitions that we're talking about. And most presidents fail to implement their campaign promises. Even if you see a slogan like this for the Republicans, promises made, promises kept, they're gonna boast, obviously, because they want to be reelected, guys. Remember, it's politicians are how you play the game. And that is why we consider it more of a dirty or career, because you seem to be lying or going on half truths most of the time. And the party platforms are supposed to be blueprints for their promises. But again, remember, Republicans did not have a platform for the first time in a long time. They said, we're just going to do whatever Trump wants to do. So that makes the party about Trump, not about the people. So it's interesting for democracy to see where this goes. So PolitiFact is a great thing where they actually track to see if what your statements are true or pants on fire, liar, liar, pants on fire. And they also look at your promises. So let's look at Obama's scorecard. Of 255 promises, he made 47% of those. He kept them. He compromised on 27, which is great. We would compromise. He broke 23%, or the number here. And you can click on these to see what they are if you go to the website. We're not going to do that now. I just wanted you to see this. So let's compare Trump's 4 years to Obama's 8 years. So he kept 24% to 40%, 47% of his promises. He compromised of 20, and he had 49% or 50 promises broken. Obviously stalled or in the works, or just stalled because he wasn't done. He wanted another term to do all this. But you could see how we analyze them. And then you could look on this for what PolitiFact does. This is what Trump said after the election. If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they could try to steal the election from us. So this is a dangerous time because he's not accepting it. So what's going to happen? I don't know. But this is considered a lie because based on what we've done for many, many years, it's very minimal to have this, but he's prepared us for it. He prepared space for exactly what's happening right now. He lost, he's complaining, and this is what's happening. And a lot of people who are Trump fans are out there saying it's stolen. How they're regurgitating whatever the media and whatever Trump is saying. This is sad because our democracy is eroding because we're not having any faith in fair and free elections then. And then we're going to question it all for the future, which just shows negativity towards our democracy, guys. Scary, but again, you can see how they do that. And then they capture the GOP, promises kept, compromise, promises broken. Nobody can do it all, guys. But again, this is kind of the meter that they keep, and it's kind of cool if you really like that stuff to look at. And you can see here some of the stuff that they kept, they broke, and they compromised on. We're not going to look at it, but it's just a really cool way to look at that. Okay, so we're going to cover party errors on the next one. I will see you guys later. Take care.